Welcome to The Explainer. You know, your 20s can feel like you're trying to solve a puzzle with no picture on the box. But what if you had a blueprint? Well, today we're going to break down some seriously powerful wisdom from entrepreneur Raj Shamani into a real actionable plan for success.
So let's just start with a feeling that I think we all know way too well. That feeling of being stuck, not sure what the next step is, or just being totally overwhelmed by all the choices out there. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then you're in the right place.
So, to get you from feeling stuck to actually being successful, we've broken this down into 4 key parts. First, we're going to dig into understanding your foundation. Then, we'll build momentum with some simple habits, get the right mindset for growth, and finally, learn how to move beyond yourself to make a real impact.
Okay, let's dive right into our first section. You know, any strong building needs a solid foundation. And for you, that foundation is built on 2 really important pillars of self-awareness. If you can get these right, believe me, everything else gets a whole lot easier. So the first pillar is something our parents' generation just seemed to get, knowing the huge difference between your needs and your wants. Needs, well, those are the things you absolutely can't move forward without. But wants, they're just nice to have.
And this quote just nails the whole idea. Shamani talks about his father, who could totally afford to upgrade his phone or buy new clothes, but he doesn't. Why? His reason is super simple. It's not needed right now. That's the kind of clarity we're all aiming for, knowing what's truly essential versus what's just a fleeting desire.
Now, the second pillar of our foundation is all about turning that focus inward. Let's be honest, we've gotten really good at spotting the flaws, the red flags in everybody else, right? Our partners, our friends, our colleagues, we see it all.
But here's the tough question. What are your red flags? Shamani got real about his own. He realized that during arguments, he would just shut down and refuse to listen. And that stopped any kind of real resolution from happening. Spotting your own patterns like that, that's the critical first step to actually changing them. So how do you do it? Well, the process is actually pretty straightforward. First, you identify your flaw. Then you acknowledge it, no excuses. And then you actively work to improve it. Look, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's just to make progress, turning those red flags green one by one.
All right, so now that we've got our foundation set, it's time to start building on it. In this next part, we're going to focus on how to create real momentum through tiny, consistent, daily habits. Now get this statistic is kind of wild. A survey found that 86% of Gen Z get something called menu anxiety. You know, the stress of just picking what to order at a restaurant. It seems small, right? But that kind of indecision can actually paralyze us when it comes to the really big life choices.
So what's the fix? You've got to train your brain. It's like a muscle. Start making small, low-stakes decisions and make them decisively. What to wear, what to eat for lunch, what movie to watch. Every single small decision you make builds up that muscle you need for the big, life-changing ones down the road.
Our second habit for building momentum is a secret weapon against procrastination. It's called the less than 1 minute rule, and it's super simple. If a task takes less than 60 seconds to do, you do it right then and there, no delays.
And look, Shamani is open about his own struggles with this. He admitted that he'd put off simple things like paying his mom's TV bill or booking his own blood test for months. And those tiny delays, they led to late fees, inconvenience, and a ton of unnecessary stress. Don't let a 1-minute task become a 6-month headache.
Okay, so you've built your foundation, you're starting to create momentum. But let's be real, the path forward is never just a straight line, is it? This next section is all about having the right mindset to handle those inevitable ups and downs. If you are feeling stuck or lonely or just really unsure if you're on the right path, you need to burn this idea into your brain. You are not alone. This quote reminds us that every single successful person has been exactly where you are right now.
So what this means is you have to reframe how you're looking at things. That feeling of being stuck, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's actually a sign that you're growing. It means you've outgrown who you used to be, but you haven't quite stepped into the next version of yourself yet. The key is to just keep doing the work that got you here in the first place. And to make sure you keep moving forward, ask yourself this one powerful question every single night. What did I not do today to get closer to my goal? This little nightly check-in forces you to see your own gaps and make sure you're always improving, even if it's just by a little bit.
And that brings us to our final section, and this is where it all comes together. We've done all this work on ourselves, right? Building a foundation, creating habits, getting a growth mindset. But why?
Well, the ultimate goal is to move beyond yourself. Think about it. The world is just flooded with self-help books and videos. How can I get better? How can I achieve more? But what Shimani argues is that the biggest growth, the truest fulfillment, it comes when we finally shift our focus from me to we.
And the way you apply this is actually really simple, but it's also profound. It's not about making some grand, heroic gesture. It's just about asking, how can I add some value to the people around me, right now? Whether that's your friends, your family, your customers, or your audience, serving other people is where real success is found.
So, there you have it. A clear, 4-part blueprint for your 20s. You start by understanding yourself, your needs versus your wants, and your own red flags. Then, you build momentum with quick decisions and the 1-minute rule. You learn to embrace that stuck feeling as a sign of growth. And finally, you shift your entire focus from helping yourself to helping others.
But listen, a blueprint is totally useless until you actually start building. The whole journey starts with just one action. So looking back at this plan, I want you to ask yourself, what is the one thing you will commit to doing today?